Katie Martinez of Oakland talks to this newspaper on deck. 2017 in Oakland about her views on the proposed initiative to repeal the state's recently enacted gas tax to fund road and highway repair. File photo by Di Sagano, Bay Area News Group, setting the stage for a major statewide battle over how to pay for an estimated $67 billion backlog in highway, bridge and road repairs. A ballot measure to repeal recently enacted gas taxes and registration fees officially qualified Monday to appear on the November ballot. Already, Governor Jerry Brown and a powerful coalition of chambers of commerce, law enforcement, unions, firefighters, local transportation agencies and cities and counties have vowed to fight it. "I will do everything in my power to defeat any repeal effort," Brown said in a statement released shortly after the Secretary of State's office announced the effort had qualified for the ballot. "You can count on that." Ad choice advertising and read invented by Teeds John Cox, the Republican candidate for governor, didn't waste any time, either, to voice his support for the repeal. "This is a message to the millions of forgotten Californians ignored by the Sacramento political elite. Help is on the way." Cox said, "Let this also be a message to every special interest in Sacramento. We are coming for you." The taxes and fees have strong support in the Bay Area, according to a recent USC and Los Angeles Times poll, where a booming economy has driven up the price of housing, forcing workers to commute longer distances through maddening traffic, and where 72% of likely voters said they would keep the tax. Support for the funding drops elsewhere in the state, however, with only 28% to 39% of Southern California and Central Valley voters saying they would keep it. Support for the taxes and fees is lagging statewide even among self-identified Democrats, only 49 of whom said they would vote to keep it compared to 44% of independent voters and 12% of Republicans. Without the new taxes and fees, California residents will be stuck right back where they started, with not enough money to fund needed highway maintenance, road repairs or public transit upgrades, said Carl Gardino, the CEO of the Silicon Valley Leadership Group and a member of the California Transportation Commission, who opposes the repeal. Those stating we can fund those improvements without the funds generated from California's first gas tax increase in 25 years are either mistaken or are flat-out misleading California voters, he said via email. If this misleading repeal is successful in November, more than half of those improvements grind to a halt, along with our region's economy and quality of life. Approved by the legislature and signed into law. Last year, Senate Bill 1, which went into effect in November, raised the tax on gasoline by 12 cents per gallon, and increased the tax on diesel by 20 cents per gallon. It also raised registration fees this year by $25 to $175, depending on the value of the vehicle, and imposed a $100 registration fee for zero-emission vehicles, which will go into effect in 2020. The taxes and fees are expected to generate roughly $54 billion over the next 10 years to chip away at the state's deferred maintenance backlog and help pay for upgrades to public transit. It nearly doubles the amount cities and counties receive annually to repair local streets and roads. Opponents of the tax say the money has been poorly managed. Too often over the past 20 years, they say, politicians raided transportation funding to balance the state's budget, limiting California's ability to pay for highway and road maintenance, which only made the eventual repairs more expensive. It's hard to get a good accounting of how much money was diverted and how much has been repaid, said David Wolf, the legislative director at the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, which opposes the taxes and fees. A 2016 UCLA report cited at least 3 times in the mid-1990s and 2000s when the state used money that was supposed to repair highways and roads or upgrade public transit but instead was used to balance the state budget. Changes to the state constitution now prohibit such transfers in most cases. Wolf highlighted another redirection of transportation funding. Voters approved several general obligation bonds over the years to pay for large transportation projects with the expectation that the principal would be paid from the general fund. But a complicated funding measure called the gas tax swap enabled legislators to use truck weight fees, which previously paid for highway and road maintenance, to pay off transportation-related debt instead. That amounts to about $7 billion since the swap went into effect. The roads will not get fixed because the politicians will continue to divert the funds as they always have in the past, Carl DeMaio, who is leading the repeal effort, said in a statement Monday. The Legislative Analyst's Office estimates that, with the new taxes, the average driver will pay $750 per year in taxes and fees. The last time the gas tax was raised was in 1994, when it increased from 9 cents to 18 cents, and proponents argue it's due for an increase. Adjusting for inflation, the value of that 18-cent tax in today's dollars is closer to 10.5 cents. Add to that seismic retrofit projects that lengthened the list of needed repairs statewide, several recessions that reduced the money the state anticipated collecting, and the increased cost of deferring maintenance when prevention would have been much cheaper, and it's not hard to see how the backlog of deferred maintenance grew, Martin Walks, an urban planning professor emeritus at UCLA, said in a telephone interview last week. Even if money dedicated to transportation was diverted to the general fund, for the most part, it's been repaid, he said. It's also true that the occasions when that has been done have been really rare and have occurred in times of fiscal emergency, Walk said. The main problem is the lack of buying power of the gas tax, unless it is raised, to keep up with inflation. Already, more than 5,000 state and local transportation projects are underway using money generated from the new taxes and fees, according to the California Transportation Commission. State transportation officials estimate roughly half of those projects would be delayed or indefinitely deferred should the repeal be successful, including $3.1 billion for transit and highway projects in the Bay Area alone. AD Quality Auto 360p 720p 1080p. You might also like 3 reasons Singaporeans should apply for HSBC's HSBC Bank. Be one of 20 winners to win up to $500 rebate. HSBC Bank ranked most popular airports in the world for 2018 far and wide. What's Kylie Jenner's net worth? You'll be surprised. Work money farewell, big corded vacuum cleaners Dyson on Today. Online football fans, heads up, this article may save your Mount Elizabeth Hospital. Singapore. Nicole Kidman reveals painful reasons she and Tom. MercuryNews.com. Trump calls Red Hen filthy after it boots Sarah. MercuryNews.com.